For more than 30 years, one book has been a go-to guide for presidents, CEOs, and literally millions of people just looking to change their lives. So what is it about the 7 habits of highly effective people that makes it so timeless? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break it down and get to the powerful core ideas from Stephen Covey's classic.
You know, to really get the power of the 7 habits, you first have to understand the man behind them. And I think the best way to do that is through the eyes of his son, Sean Covey, who at first, well, he just saw him as his dad.
I love this quote from Sean Covey. It just perfectly captures that disconnect he felt. Imagine you're a teenager and strangers are coming up to you crying, telling you how your dad's book changed their lives. But to you, he's just dad, the guy with the questionable fashion sense.
Sean tells this story about how his dad would show up at his grade school and just burst into a song he made up called "I Love My Family," right in the middle of the lunch line. Totally mortifying for a kid, right? But it really shows you the genuine, very human person behind these huge ideas.
And that's the real key here. Covey himself never claimed to have invented any of this stuff. His true genius was in seeing these universal, timeless principles of effectiveness that have always existed, and then boiling them down into a clear, actionable framework of habits that any of us could actually live by. And that's exactly why they're still so relevant today.
So to really get the habits he laid out, we first have to understand what Covey even meant by the word habit, because it's a lot more than just some simple routine you do.
This chart just lays it out perfectly. A real habit happens where 3 things overlap. First, you need the knowledge. You have to know what to do. Then you need the skill. You've got to know how to do it. And finally, and this is crucial, you need the desire. You have to genuinely want to do it. If you're missing any one of those 3, it's never going to stick as an effective habit.
Covey lays out the habits along this path that he calls the maturity continuum. It's basically a journey. We start at dependence, and the first goal is to get to independence, which is all about self-mastery. He calls this the private victory. But it doesn't stop there. From there, the path leads to interdependence, working effectively with others, which is the public victory. The whole idea is so simple, but so profound. You have to win with yourself first.
All right, so let's dig into that journey. Starting with that private victory, the first 3 habits that are all about mastering yourself. The foundation for everything, and I mean everything, is habit 1, be proactive. It's this fundamental belief that you are the creator. You are in charge of your own life. And just look at the difference here. Proactive people, they take responsibility. They're agents of change who make choices based on their values. Reactive people, on the other hand, often feel like victims, bounced around by their circumstances and their moods. The huge difference is that proactive people know they always have the freedom to choose their response. Okay, so once you accept that you're in charge, habit 2 asks the big question. In charge of what? Like, where are you even going? This is the habit of personal vision.
You can see the split pretty clearly. Effective people are actively creating their own future. They're guided by their own personal mission statement, their own core principles. Ineffective people, well, they tend to just drift, living life based on society's script without ever stopping to define their own purpose. Habit 3 is really where the rubber meets the road. It's how you take those first 2 habits and actually apply them day to day. This is the habit of personal management.
So ask yourself, are you organizing your life around your most important priorities? Or are you a crisis manager, just constantly putting out fires and reacting to stuff that feels urgent but isn't actually that important? This habit is all about focusing on what truly matters, not just what's screaming for your attention.
Okay, so once you've achieved that private victory, once you've moved from being dependent to independent, you're ready for the public victory. This is all about achieving true, effective collaboration with other people. The first habit of the public victory is a complete frame of mind. It's not about my way or the highway. It's about believing there's a better way we can find together.
And this is a huge paradigm shift. Win-win comes from what Covey called an abundance mentality. This core belief that there's plenty of success to go around for everybody. It's all about mutual benefit. The total opposite is win-lose, which comes from a scarcity mentality. This idea that life is a zero-sum game. If you win, that must mean I lose.
Now this might be the most powerful and honestly, the most difficult habit for a lot of us. It is the single most important principle for communicating with other human beings.
Think about it. Most of us listen with the intent to reply, not to actually understand. We're just busy in our heads formulating our response while the other person is still talking. But highly effective people?
They diagnose before they prescribe. They listen with real empathy to truly get the other person's perspective first, and only then do they try to make their own point.
Okay, habit 6 is where it all comes together. It's the culmination of all the previous habits. This is the habit of creative cooperation.
Now, synergy isn't just about compromise. It's about truly valuing the differences between people, respecting them, building on them, to create a third alternative that's way better than what either person could have come up with alone. It's where 1 + 1 = 3, or 100, or even more. The whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts.
So we have the private victory and the public victory. But what keeps it all going? I mean, what powers the whole engine? Well, that brings us to the final and maybe most important habit.
Habit 7 is the one that makes all the others possible. It's about taking the time to invest in your greatest asset, you. Let's be real, you can't be effective if you're totally burned out. Sharpening the saw means having a balanced program to renew yourself in the 4 key areas of your life: the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the social or emotional. If you neglect this, you're just going to wear yourself out and lose that cutting edge you once had. And look, this isn't just abstract theory. You can actually assess where you stand on this stuff. This is a peek at the official self-assessment. It asks you to rate yourself on statements for each habit. So for habit 5, for example, it asks you to rate how often you truly seek to understand someone else's viewpoint before you jump in with your own. It's a pretty powerful tool for some real self-awareness.
Because ultimately the goal isn't just to know the habits, right? It's to live them. So we'll leave you with this question. Looking at your own life right now, what's the one thing you could do this week, just one small thing, to sharpen your saw?